Hello, everyone. This is Marco from HackBuddy, and I'm here with Ilda Neta from Brazil. She's currently living in Spain, and she has joined me for this lovely interview. She's a React developer, recently dived into React Native development and iOS apps creation. I've met her at a Geekly event a few years ago, where she was the ProTrack speaker, and she's been doing a lot of talks lately, but here today she's going to tell us a bit more about herself. Bem-vindo, Ilda. ¿Cómo va?
Hi Marco, I'm fine. Thank you. In Spanish is Hola, yo estoy bien. Muchas gracias.
Yeah, so yeah, for everyone, Ilda is, I think, trilingual at the moment. She speaks perfect English, perfect Portuguese or Brazilian, and Spanish because right now she's happily married and living in Spain.
Yes. With my three cats because I bring them with me from Brazil and
Mhm.
now she's Spanish.
Wow. Well, can we start off by telling us a bit more about yourself? How long have you been programming and where have you learned to code? Like, what was your journey into computer development?
So, my name is Ilda. I am a mobile developer, but from the beginning, I was not a developer. I started my career. I started my career in 2014, but at that moment, I was working with documentation. After that, I started to work as support analyst. And in one moment in 2018, I and my husband, we are thinking about to move to Spain. And when I was looking for positions in Spain, I didn't see, I didn't saw a lot of positions for support, but instead I saw a lot of positions for development. In front-end development, a lot of positions, and I started to think about what is front-end developer, how I could start my career into a front-end development, and I started to look out in Google, make some search, and I saw that to be a front-end developer, I had to study like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And after that, I started to make my programmation, and I started to study by myself from YouTube videos, and I started making a course for uh, logic of programming. After that, I did HTML and CSS, and I was crazy because when I did one website with HTML and CSS, I couldn't believe it because I didn't know that were possible to make a website only with HTML and CSS. And after that, I started to study every day. And after to study the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, I bought a bootcamp, a full stack bootcamp that with JavaScript I could be a front end, mobile, and backend developer because with backend I used the Node for mobile React Native and front end React. So my career as developer started at that moment.
Awesome. Awesome. In the conversation we had before we hit this record button, you mentioned that you also studied Python, and that was the groundbreaking moment for you. Can you tell the story again for our audience here?
Yes. So after studying HTML and CSS, I discovered a course for Python. Before JavaScript, I started to study Python because at that moment I didn't know how is to make a code. What is code? What is programming? Was very abstract for me. And when I did Python and I make my first hello world was, oh my God. So I am programming. I couldn't believe it. And it was amazing and was uh, a good point of my career because I always like to remember it because for me, I was not a programming person. I was not a like a nerd person. Uh, but when I did Python, was a great moment to me because it, I could see that was possible to learn and was possible to be a developer and motivated a lot my studies and I could turn all my focus to be a developer.
That's so cool. That's really amazing. Um, I also wanted to ask you because I know that you've done a lot of courses. You've actually speak at a lot of conferences, even some that I attended, and I really loved you as a speaker there. So, how did you start your journey into speaking at conferences?
Amazing. So before to talk in conference, I only did talks, internal talks for the companies. No, I started to make some internal talks to talk with my colleagues and share some knowledge. But in one moment in Salvador, happened an event to talk for women. Was an event only for women, and I did one talk talking about my new career, my studies to become a developer. And when I finished this talk, I was very surprised because it was amazing. And I studied a lot. I I was very prepared for the event. It's like a mix of emotions before and after the event. But after it, I was, oh my God, it's so amazing. I would like to more to do more presentations, no? And after that happened an opportunity to talk at React Brazil, and is one of the biggest events of React in the world because Brazil have a lot of people, and this event is the biggest of Latin America. So I was, oh my God, amazing. And I talked about rain, that is a measurement, and it's most common to use rain for front-end development. So I talked about use rain for mobile development because I was studying a lot about responsive layouts and something about it, and it was amazing. And after that, one person from Geekly, that is a company that organizes events around the world, contacted me on LinkedIn, telling me, Ilda, we will have an event in United States of React, and it's about case studies. And we thought about you to present something for us, and I was, oh my God, very surprised. And I did one talk for them and I explained them what I could talk, and they liked it a lot. And then I did this presentation talking about one feature that I did in Brazil called Pix, that is an instant payment method, and I explained how we did this feature using React Native. So it was amazing for me because Pix is is a regulatory from Central Bank of Brazil
Gotcha.
that all the banks of Brazil have to offer for the users the Pix, no? So I explained it how the technology works and how we could bring it to life using React Native. And after this event, new talks began to appear to me. And in this year, I did another talk for Netherlands, for JavaScript Netherlands. And I talked about how we can start our career as developers. And it was amazing as well, the
Yeah, that's a
experience.
beautiful segue. Can you tell us your story on how was your first interview when you first interviewed for a position to be a developer?
Was in 2019 because I started to study to be a programmer in 2018, like ends of 2018. And in 2019, after I bought the bootcamp course, I started to study React and appear one position for front-end development, like internship. And I applied and I started to make the process because the process were very long because was one position for 80% that applied for the position, and it was very hard, the process. And was amazing because I consider myself a person very prepared because when I started to do something, I I tried to think um, to be the best person for that thing, you know. And I started to study how is the common what is the common questions that the recruiters does, no? And yes, I was studying, and the interview was a process, no? I did some things with the other competitors, and I was passing phases. And in the final phase, I had one interview with the technical leader of the position, and he told me to do a program to invert my name, like to catch one string and invert the string, and it was um, like that. I don't know.
That's great. That's great. That's really interesting. We can segue into our next question of this conversation here. What type of projects are you working on right now? Whether it's for work or some of projects that you might have running on the side. No worries.
I am working. I am working for a company that make management of circuits, like of sports circuits like swimming, running, mountaineering. And I am working inside the project that I am making application that use artificial intelligence to recognize face of the participants and show them all the photos taken along the circuit.
Nice. That's really interesting. Yeah, AI is a big
Yes.
thing. It will be a
Uh,
big thing in an upcoming few years. I'm sure.
yes, it's amazing because I was, oh my God, that's so good and so interesting. Because when you do or you are doing a circuit, you have a lot of photos taken of you, and sometimes you didn't have those photos before, after, no? And now, after I did this app, the person will be able to have those photos or like assemble a video as well and share with the social medias, and will be very nice.
That's cool. That's really cool. That's really interesting. That kind of puts me in a perfect position to ask you something else. What are you excited about in the tech space? Something that is currently out there, something that might be coming up soon or in the following few years? We already touched base on artificial intelligence, but what else is in the pool?
So I am very excited about React Native, especially because it, it is the framework that I am using. But about the whole tech community space, I am very excited because the people is very open to share their knowledge. And for me, it's very special because when I was starting, I had a lot of people that helped me and sent to me a lot of articles, videos to learn. And this is for me very exciting because we can help a lot of people that we don't know, but we are helping by producing articles, videos, talks, presentations, and yes, for me is it.
Awesome. I mean, helping the community and helping other people and other people helping you is kind of part of the whole deal why we're doing this here. And you also said
Yes,
it was something that got you in speaking to begin with.
yes, because when we are speaking, before to speak, we have to learn it a lot. We have to study, search a lot of contents, and but after that, a lot of people start to happen in our lives, like in LinkedIn, on LinkedIn, or for email, and sent to us a lot of things like, Ilda, you changed my life. I saw your presentation and helped me a lot. And things like that is like it's not it's unpaid. You can't you can't pay it for those things. It's like, oh my God, change your life, Sab, you know. And for me, is it change one life, person's life is like my mission because we can do that by doing a lot of things. And presentations is one of the ways that I found to do that.
Awesome. Yeah. Changing people's lives is really important. You mentioned that you are currently working on over-the-air updates for smartphone apps. Can you expand a bit, something briefly on that?
Yes, a little brief because in the future I will make a talk for you about it. And so over there is a technology that helped us mobile developers to update code inside the applications that we made without passing it by the stores. Because when we are making our code, we have to pass it into the stores for the users, download the new version, and then have the update for the code. But uh, if in one moment we have a bug, a critical bug, and we have to quickly, let's say,
To
oh my God, I
deploy a new
forgot it.
update?
Yes, we have to quickly update it. And for example, in a bank, if your balance for I don't know what reason didn't reload, for example, and we have to fix it quickly. we have to, without OTA, we have to pass the code for the store, and one reviewer have to review your code, and it can be like in 2 days, in one day, I don't know. And with OTA, we can do it easily and without passing it for the stores. And the user, when the user open again the application, the code we will be reloaded and will be updated, you know. And it's very special, this tool, because yes, it helped us a lot.
We're definitely on schedule for doing a workshop on this topic, because having the option to configure the app to update by itself without going through the marketplace through the app store is really important and can make a huge life or death difference for some people that might be using that app. One other thing that Ilda is pretty proud of and pretty active on, she's a huge advocate for accessibility for smartphone apps. And me being a semi-impaired user by being colorblind, so makes me kind of like a suitable person to ask and be just be curious on what are the current trends when it comes to accessibility for smartphone apps right now.
So accessibility is very interesting, because when we start to think about, it's like a big world. And when we start to study more, you have to study, and it's kind turn more deeper the knowledge. But accessibility is important because you can start to use it by simple things. For example, by declaring that one view, for example, is accessible, that this specific component is a button or a text. Those little things help a lot some people that have special needs, no? But beyond that, we have to think about accessibility in the colors, the fonts, font size. Because, for example, if you have a bank that the majority users are old people, for example, and you are using fonts like 12 in your app, you are like not accessible for those people. And I think that one important thing to think about accessibility is to know your user, is to know um, how work in a good way with your users, with your databases, no? The age, the region, a lot of those data helped us a lot to um, how to say, to customize our application and to think better about accessibility.
Right. Like you just said, you need to know your demographics. You need to definitely know your audience. If it's the elderly, you need to opt in for better font sizes, for greater font sizes. If you're working with predominantly, I don't know, male audience, as 1 in 12 male men are colorblind, they have red-green color blindness, you definitely need to opt in for something like strong colors and make it bold so they don't mix up and don't know whether they should click on the red or the green button.
Exactly.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah, that accessibility is something that everyone needs to pay a bit more attention to. And it's kind of like an undervalued value proposition at the moment, in my personal opinion.
Yes, in my as well.
So, Ilda, this brings us to the final question, I guess. Where do you still see yourself in the future?
It's a good question, because before, when I was thinking about this question, I was like, oh, in the future, I would like to be a technical leader, for example. But I was thinking better about it for my professional career, for example. And in the future, I would like to be a better professional, independent of the name of the term. But I realized that I would like to be like a specialist, a mobile specialist, and to be a reference for other women to see like, oh, I can see this person as a mobile developer, and I would like to become a mobile developer as well, because she are inspiring me, and she are help me in my career. And I would like to deepen my knowledge in mobile development, in performance, in accessibility, because it's another work. And yes, I think that, and to make more presentations, to
Awesome.
practice more, because I know like 3 languages, but to talk in another language is like always a challenge, no? Because sometimes you can forget a word, I don't know, a conjugation, but making presentation is like one way to practice, to put my knowledge in
Knowledge on
like
paper.
that.
Got
Exactly.
Gotcha. Well, that's great to hear. So I want to thank everybody for staying with us thus far, and I do hold Ilda for her word that we'll do an over-the-air workshop pretty soon. We might even dip our toes into accessibility in the near future as well.
Bye bye.